Hey everybody, okay, I am back and I just wanted to share a quick update on our spy relocation series because I just had to go get my first COVID-19 swab test. And as I was going to get that test, I tried to research as much as I could to learn about the test, and it seems like there's a lot of bad information out there, so I just wanted to share my experience with you so that you know what you can expect if and when you go to take the coronavirus swab test. Now, the first disclaimer is this. I'm in the UAE and there's fantastic medical here. The medical professionals are really, really talented folks, very ginger, very patient, very professional. So my experience was a very positive experience, and I want to make sure that I highlight that I think a lot of that is because of how professional the medical is here. So if you are somewhere where medicine is not always very professional, or if you are someplace where you're not necessarily sure if you can trust the technicians to be proficient or gentle, then I trust your instincts. But if you are someplace where you do trust the medical technicians, then you can probably expect an experience kind of like mine. So the whole swab test took about 4 minutes. It didn't take long at all. I was in line waiting for my turn longer than I was actually in for the actual procedure. But here's what the procedure went like. There's about a 6-inch, maybe an 8-inch swab that they use. So it's a pretty intimidating looking swab. And for me, because of the opportunity for false positives, false positive in this case meaning falsely saying that you are negative when in fact you are positive of coronavirus, because of the rate of false positives with the swab test, they actually take 2 swabs. And one is a nasal swab and one is an oral swab. I think they call it nasopharyngeal and oral pharyngeal. So here's what you can expect. You walk into the little center, you'll sign in, give your name, whatever else. They'll take you back to the area with the technician and they'll sit you in a chair, a pretty normal chair. Now for the nasopharyngeal, they've got to get to this spot way in the back of your nasal cavity before they can actually get a safe, reliable swab. So they take this long swab, this 8-inch swab, and they tilt your head back and they'll actually insert the swab through your nose so it goes straight back into the back of this nasal cavity, way in the back. It is an awkward feeling. It is not painful. It is just awkward. It kind of feels if you've ever gotten yourself dunked in the pool and all of a sudden you get like a shot of chlorinated water up into your nose. That's what it feels like as they swab. It's only going to be for a few seconds. And the natural instinct that your body has isn't to gag or cry or jerk or anything like that. All your body really wants to do is it has this natural inclination to breathe out. So that's what I did. Your face scrunches up. It's very uncomfortable. They're sticking this thing back there. It's not like jamming. They're just gently putting it back there so they can swab, and your body wants to exhale. So I did. I just exhaled through the whole 4-second procedure, and then they pulled everything out, and I was good to go. My eyes started to water, just like when you get chlorine in the back of your nose, but there was no itch, there was no stinging, it wasn't anything like that. It was just kind of awkward. Now for the oral pharyngeal, they take the same long 8-inch swab. Obviously it's a new swab. And then they take that and they have you open your mouth, tilt your head back, and they insert that long 8-inch swab through your mouth all the way kind of back and up to the same sort of area as where they got the nasopharyngeal sample. So this is the area that they want to reach because that's where it has the right kind of glands and the mucus and everything is very much alive back there. So they stick the swab back there, they dodge your uvula, the hanging ball that kind of triggers your gag reflex. They'll dodge that, go all the way back to your throat, and they'll kind of swab back there again. It just takes a few seconds. It is not comfortable, but it is also not uncomfortable or painful. It's just a little bit awkward. Your natural body's instinct isn't to gag or anything like that. It's just like when you used to go to the doctor as a kid and they would tell you to say ah and press and stick out your tongue. That is exactly the same natural reaction that I had. So I just went, and all of a sudden it was over. So you feel the swab rubbing against the back of your nasal cavity and the back of your throat in places where things don't normally rub, but you do have a natural body instinct that you can carry out. You can breathe out, scrunch your face, make the whole ah sound like you did when you were in the doctor getting a physical when you were 7 years old. And then before you know it, it's all over. They wrap everything up, they send it off to the lab. I chose to do it with professionals because I didn't want to do a self-test because it's very difficult to protect the sample and keep the sample alive and well. Coronavirus is a very fragile virus. for all the fear and damage that it's causing, it's actually very fragile. So if it gets too hot, if it gets too cold, if it gets exposed to the elements for too long, it might break down, it might appear dead, or it might not register at all. So you want to let professionals go in, get a good sample, secure the sample, and keep the sample alive for as long as possible. But that was my swab test. I wanted that swab test done so that I can start moving forward with my relocation plan, because if anybody asks if I've ever taken a test, I want to be able to say, yes, I took a test, yes, it was in the last 6 weeks, and here are my results. Personally, I don't think that those tests are going to do much of anything, because all they really do is tell you at this exact point in time on this exact date, you were or weren't positive. They don't tell you anything else. What I would love to get is a antibody test down the road, and if I get one of those anytime soon, I'll make sure I record it and share that experience with you as well. But there you go. My spy relocation plan requires that at least one person in the family gets tested. I was considered essential personnel in the UAE for many months during the coronavirus outbreak. It makes the most sense that I would be the one to acquire it first. So I went and I got a test to see whether or not I am positive right now. No symptoms, no signs, no reasons to think that I'm positive, but I wanted to make sure I had that bookmark in my history so that when I go looking for visas or when I go talking about travel or airplane travel, that I can confidently say, and I have some kind of receipt in my hand that shows that on this date, at this time, I was COVID-19 negative or positive. So we'll find out, and obviously we're all hoping that it's negative, because if I come back positive, it's gonna put about a 2-week damper in anything I'm trying to accomplish. So anyways, talk to you soon.